I saw the film last night. I always tend to leave it the day before I speak to the guy, you guys, or whoever is involved in it. Yeah, I'm very impressed with it. I've got a first question for you, Matt, if you don't mind. The cast, obviously involving Alec and the rest of them, you couldn't have picked a better cast for your first feature. I mean, I know you're involved with Martin Ware. I think he was maybe the instigator. I don't know. I mean, how did it come about you meeting him? And I mean, obviously, getting people like Alec involved who, are phenomenal actors and actresses. So.
Yeah, I mean, complete dream come true. Even to the extent of with Anna Maria, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, just as I think with most people who've seen it, and certainly Alec as well, it's just it changed the way we look at cinema. Basically, it changed what I thought was possible. In terms of the pieces coming together, the script was actually written without any nationalities or anything like that defined within it. It was originally a very sort of bare bones structural document. And then I don't remember how it got to you, Alec. The first thing I heard was that it was on your desk, basically. And so
sent it to me at one point, and I think you sent it to me. No, one of the producers sent it to me. Yeah. And at that point, it was, as you said, it was like you didn't have like a specific family for it. And when I read it and when Matt sent me the script, it was like, okay, we need to find some specificity. But other than that, I found it like to be a very relevant story for these times. And I really wanted to get on board because I thought that it was a story worth telling. And then I got in touch with Matt, who told me that he was willing to work on the script, or not really on the script, but on the lines, especially on the lines in Romanian, because we wanted to make them as accurate as possible. And I found it really nice of him, and it was a very collaborative way of working, which I haven't done before in a film. And it was quite interesting to get on board in such a project.
And then basically once Alec was on board, everybody else was just sort of desperate to do it, basically.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't want to work with Alec? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And even I. But the film itself, though, for me, it's a case of exploring the notion of urban anonymity. Where you've got these people who are maybe a delivery driver, like Alec is in the film. You don't know what goes behind the scenes or in their head or what their life involves. I know the first 15 minutes of the film, it was mainly about Alec on the bike, getting on delivering stuff. He's seeing his family and his wife and his daughter, and I think it's his son, isn't it, the baby? But you get a feel of what their normal life is and how proud he is as a person to have a job like that. But for the outsiders, all you always see is a delivery driver, someone who gives you the pizza or whatever, and then you shut the door and that's it. But I think for the film, it addresses that, doesn't it? It's like you do not judge a book by its cover.
Totally. Yeah. That was very much the intention, I know there's that quite long stretch before we even see Alec's face, and then that reveal of, oh, it's him. We very much wanted the audience, because obviously we're quite a small independent movie. Most people who see this movie will be aware of who Alec is in any way. So that moment of the reveal, and they go, oh, it's Alec, crazy. And then you just kind of hopefully take that feeling with you, out into the world.
And for you, Alec, I mean, how much of, I know it sounds like a daft question, but how did you sort of prepare for this? I mean, I've heard that you sort of made contact with people who did work, maybe in pizza delivery, and I think it was Amsterdam.
Well, I do have friends that do that, and I do have I know a lot of people that are left Romania for a better life in the Western countries, and I do have a lot of friends that are, I don't know, maybe overqualified for the jobs that they're doing, but they're doing these kind of jobs and delivering pizzas or working as drivers or taxi drivers or truck drivers or in construction or whatever. So there is an interesting story tell here, because some of the people that are leaving the country and migrate to other countries, it's like they find jobs that sometimes are less are overqualified to do.
Yeah.
And it is a drama. It is because they are looking for a better life, and they have a better life in many ways. I mean, better standard, they make more money, they're able to afford proper education for their children, and I don't know, healthcare and whatever. But in the same time, they are living a drama because they don't really do what they thought they were meant to do. And they kind of make this sacrifice for the sake of the family, because for the sake of the children, for their future. So it's a generation that basically sacrificing themselves for the better good of their future generations.
Yeah, and you can see that with obviously with the drivers, and obviously his daughter, the eldest one, and she's obviously studying. He wants the best for her, and you know, he'll take a job which is probably beneath him. And he's like what you just said, but you do it all for the family unit. And for you, Matt, I mean, was that something you wanted to get across from the start? You know, and also was it to do? I mean, also gentrification is obviously massive in London. You know, you got you can look at one corner, you can be on an estate, the other corner you could be in Hampstead. Do you know what I mean? I lived in London, and obviously you probably lived there yourselves. But was that something you wanted to do from the start, Matt? And also, why London? Why not say, I don't know, Manchester or Birmingham?
Well, it's sort of primarily because I'm from London, and I've lived here my whole life. So it's a city that I feel I know, you know, fairly well. The other side of it is that my partner at the time of writing the script worked for a charity called Coram Children's Legal Centre, who do a lot of work with migrant families coming into the UK. So basically, that is the whole basis for the sort of the embryonic stage of the project, and where it came from, was kind of obviously keeping everyone anonymous and all that stuff, but hearing case studies of you know, the terrible things that people have to go through and stuff like that. And the gentrification side of it is incredible. I mean, more so when we were shooting, that just became apparent. You know, the Hereford House, the tower block that we were shooting in Kilburn, whole floors of it were empty because families had been shut out, and they were basically, all these families had been told this building is going to be coming down in the next 6 months. You know, nearly 2 years pretty much after we shot the film, building's still there, and all these people are just living on borrowed time. And you know, I got chatting to this woman who was basically, she was unemployed, and so regardless of the fact that her whole family lives in London, she had been told that she was about to be relocated to Birmingham without a definite time for that huge life-changing move. But she had to just been told prepare for it. And next to the tower block are all of these, you know, identical new builds. So yeah, it's just apparent, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And also, I was going to say about the film, and I know I've only got so long with you both. It's based, or loosely based, on The Bicycle Thieves, which is a film from the 40s. I haven't seen it. I mean, how does it, for those who haven't seen it as well, but will watch this film, how, I mean, what is the connection? I mean, obviously I know the title's very similar, I mean, but I've never seen the film, so what is it, you know, what's the link to it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very much a kind of jumping off point. So the plot of that film is the protagonist gets a bicycle to carry out a job as a postman. And then obviously the bicycle is stolen, and the rest of the film, in much the same way as our film, is him following through with that. And obviously kind of post-war Rome is it's an exclusively Italian thing, so everybody he meets is Italian. And what I wanted to do was basically playfully recontextualize that, hopefully, for London, and obviously rather than a exclusively Italian feel, give it a multicultural feel, because that's the city London is, but also just kind of tragically say, you know, how much has really changed in the nearly 80 years since that film came out.
I need to get a copy. He's trying to find one. Maybe it's on YouTube. I will try and source a copy. And for you, Alec, then, what was it like working with Anna Maria and the rest of the cast? I mean, obviously, have you worked with them before? I mean, obviously, I know the one who played your daughter. She was a new actress, and she's obviously now at college, which is great for her. But what about the rest of them? What was it like for you working with them?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Anna Maria's work, and of course I knew about her. We haven't met before, and when Matt told me he was going for Anna Maria, I said, okay, fingers crossed for that. Hopefully she will like the film. And she responded immediately, and she was on board with us. And I was quite nervous, to be honest, because she's quite this amazing work. And yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, it's like when you're being a fan of someone, and but our first meeting went pretty well, so we connected like really fast. She lives in London for quite a while now, and she kind of misses home sometimes, and we kind of discussed about common people that we know, and connections that we have, and yeah, we bonded really fast. And Matt was there as well, and we had so much fun on writing the Romanian lines, because we wanted to make them really like authentic and specific. And of course Matt knew what the characters wanted to say, but we wanted to make them like, yeah, and we had really that was really fun. And yeah, Anna Maria is a very generous actor, and yeah, incredibly talented, and yeah, it was an honor to work with her, and we still keep in touch, and it's really nice. And Alexia, because you mentioned her, she was 14 at the time, as I remember, yeah. And she was really well prepared, and she came on set like a professional, and
yeah, she's great.
Like a proper partner to work with, and yeah, I see a bright future ahead of her. I mean, if she keeps doing what she's doing, it'd be great for her. Yeah,
she's great. I mean, I like the scene where she's dancing to the headphones. I mean, the music, I mean, moving on from that into the music element, I mean, you sort of home run there with the music involved, and the music's amazing. I mean, how did, I mean, obviously it's a question for Matt, I presume, not you, Alec, unless you sort of sorted the music, Alec, I don't know. But I mean, how did you get him involved? Obviously it's
yeah, Young Fathers.
Yeah.
I'm basically an enormous fan of the band. Wrote the script, listening to the music. I think you and I, Alec, were already sort of chatting by that point, and I was just kind of like,
yeah.
You know what?
I went to see a concert of them when they played in Bucharest, like the summer before or something, and yeah, I knew about them, and yeah.
Okay. So maybe you did in Dyson then.
Well, I then just basically reached out to them on Twitter, and luckily G, who sort of they all write the songs, but G is kind of the main, I think, music writer of the band, was looking to compose for a short film, and I just said, why don't you be brave and come and do a feature with us? It's all of our first time as well, not Alec obviously, but it's our first time too. Why don't you come and hang around with us and see what happens? And I'm so thankful I did, because it's incredible.
Yeah, it works really well. I mean, music for me is key for anything. You know, I mean, I like to watch Gomorrah. I love Gomorrah, but the music in Gomorrah, it is, as you know, we've all seen it, and you know, but you get some shows where the music, or films, the music doesn't work, but I think for this film, the music works. It's in tandem. You know, the action's amazing. Then you got obviously, and the bike. We'll mention the bike, but obviously the music. So with the bikes in, I mean, how much of that was you on the bike? I mean, it's a daft question, but how much of that was that you riding the bike around London? Was it Matt?
There was some of me was there. But at one point, because I mean, we shot the film in 16 days, so we didn't have time to be in two places in the same time.
Yeah.
So for some shots, I think we used like a stunt to drive through London, because the producers found it like it's safer this way, because we had something else to shoot, and it was I mean, in 16 days to shoot a film is not that much, and it was quite full time, and that's why we chose to do some of the things, yeah, to have a stunt. Yeah. Was a really nice guy, in fact.
For 16 days, 16 days is impressive. I mean, that's got to be a record for me, for anyone I've interviewed. I mean, that's impressive. What about the editing then, Matt? Was that something that went on for months and months and months, or did you sort of turn it around even quicker than, or was it quite quick?
No, I mean, the edit, because the edit was one of those things, because we did most of the edit in Tommaso Gallone's flat. So we weren't, with the edit, we weren't renting a studio space. We weren't doing anything like that. It was pretty much the only part of the process where we could go, let's just take a breath and, play around with a few things and, be a tiny bit experimental and see what we can do.
And I've got to ask you both now then, what's next? I mean, obviously, this would have been filmed a while back, wouldn't it? I think the film, would it?
We shot the beginning of 2019.
There's a couple of years, yeah. So what? I mean, I know Alex got a repertoire of stuff he's done and doing. So, but I've got to ask you because obviously that's what we're here for. So, what for you, Alex? What have you got coming up, and what have you done? And then same question to you, Matt. Because obviously this is a massive stepping stone. Well, not stepping stone, but it's a massive introduction to the movie world, I guess, as yourself. But and it's a great one. But I just, I can see a big future. But I just want to know what you've done since that 2019.
Well, I had a couple of things that came out this year. I had Ammonite that was directed by Francis Lee, and it was out, premiered a couple of months ago. And I mean, to be honest, COVID really affected this line of work, and haven't done that much the last year because of traveling. For the moment, I'm in Bucharest, I'm home. So I'm kind of expecting for the things to sort out in the next, 3 or 4 months, hopefully. So so for the moment, I'm concentrating on By Thief. Hopefully we'll get some good engagement with the film, and the people will like it and tell other people about it as well. Hopefully they won't tell anybody. So I don't know. So I'm freelancing actor.
A freelancing amazing actor. Don't forget that part, man. So but what about you, Matt? I mean, obviously 2 years is, I mean, I know COVID sort of fucked it up for the last 15 months, but obviously what have you got?
So there was a lot of day job stuff. I sort of went back. So before By Thief, I was working in production quite a lot. So I went back to production for a few months, as much as possible in the middle of COVID. But for the most part, there's been a lot of writing and trying to get things in order for when we're allowed back out again to do stuff. If anybody wants to, let us do anything again, hopefully 1 or 2 with ALEC. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'm sure people see the film, they'll be impressed by both of you. So what last question then before we go to shoot? What's been your escape then while you've been in the lockdown? What has been your sort of thing you've been doing, to escape all the shite that's been going on?
For me, honestly, video games. I mean, video games and movies, films, binging lots of TV series, and I don't know, trying to keep myself sane, because I can be very, very cruel. I mean, can keep you safe, but can drive you mad. So tried to keep myself as sane as I could and not put a lot of pressure, because I mean, it wouldn't make sense to put pressure in such difficult times. So this is what I've been doing, honestly.
And not eating loads of crap food. No pizzas.
Ordering as much as I can.
And what about you, Matt? What have you been escaping?
I mean, super boring, but the same. Just old movies, old TV shows. But I'm quite lucky in that my hobby is writing, so I can just kind of lock in and just do that and disappear for a few hours, and suddenly it's bedtime again.
It sounds like me. I just write all the time. I'll do these things. So but no, well guys, thank you for your time. Honestly, I think there's somebody else coming in now, so I'll have to sort of hand this over now. But no, thank you for the chat. I'm impressed. But like I said, the film, I love the film, and I can't wait to see more from you, Matt, and Alec. Obviously, you'll be in many, many more productions. So nice.
Thanks, Phil. Cheers.
Thanks, dude. Well, I'm just letting you guys.